a maximum security women's prison. No men, no visits. Yet inmates were getting pregnant one by one. No one knew how, until a secret camera exposed the shocking truth. Stay tuned. This might be the most unbelievable mystery you've ever heard. Tell us in the comments where you're watching from and subscribe for more thrilling stories. Dr. Evelyn Carter stared at the ultrasound screen, her breath catching in her throat. The flickering black and white image confirmed what she already suspected, but it didn't make sense. She turned to Natalie Collins, the young woman lying stiffly on the examination table, her fingers digging into the edge. "Doctor, what is that? Am I?" Evelyn inhaled sharply. "Yes, Natalie, you're pregnant." Natalie's body jerked as if she had been struck. No, that's not possible." Evelyn's gaze darkened. In any other case, pregnancy wouldn't have been a shock. But here, in Rosewood Women's Correctional Facility, a maximum security prison where intimate visits were strictly forbidden, there was no way this should be happening. And yet, Natalie wasn't the first case. She was the 5th woman this month to turn up pregnant. Evelyn felt a chill roll down her spine. This wasn't a mistake. This wasn't coincidence. Something was going on inside this prison. She reached for the intercom, her voice steady but urgent. "Get me Supervisor Miranda Hayes, now." Minutes later, the steel infirmary door swung open, and Miranda Hayes strode in. The prison supervisor was a woman of authority. Her crisp uniform, tightly pulled bun, and sharp gaze left no room for nonsense. She had built a reputation as unshakable. But as she approached, Evelyn saw her expression flicker. "Tell me you're kidding," Miranda said. Evelyn exhaled, shaking her head. "I wish I was." She turned the screen toward Miranda, letting her see for herself. The unmistakable outline of a fetus blinked back at them. A heavy silence settled in. "That's 5, Miranda murmured, rubbing her temple. 5 women, 1 month, and not a single damn man has access to them." Natalie sat up suddenly, panic flooding her face. "I swear, I don't know how this happened. I haven't been with anyone." Miranda's sharp eyes locked onto her. "You expect me to believe that?" "It's the truth," Natalie's voice cracked. "I don't understand any of this." Miranda studied her face. The fear, the confusion. It wasn't an act. Evelyn crossed her arms. "We need to start asking the right questions, Miranda. This isn't an accident." Miranda's lips pressed into a tight line. "No, it's not." She pulled out her radio. "All staff to the conference room. Emergency meeting. Now." The conference room was tense. Prison guards, medical staff, and administrators sat stiffly in their chairs, the unspoken truth weighing heavy in the air. Miranda stood at the front, arms crossed. 5 pregnancies, no intimate visits, no recorded security breaches, no logical explanation. Silence. Then Trish Monroe, a senior guard, scoffed. "It's gotta be a mistake. There's no way." Evelyn cut in, her tone firm. "Medical records don't lie." Another guard, Sophie James, hesitated before speaking. "What if it's someone already here?" Miranda's eyes snapped to her. "What do you mean?" Sophie shifted uncomfortably. "The only man in this facility is George Lawson." A wave of unease rippled through the room. George, the elderly security guard, had worked at Rosewood for 20 years. No complaints, no violations. But was that enough to rule him out? Miranda's jaw tightened. "Pull the surveillance footage." Hours later, Evelyn and Miranda sat in the monitoring room, scanning weeks of security footage. Then, something caught Evelyn's eye. "Pause it." Miranda hit the button. The screen showed George walking down a corridor behind Natalie. Moments later, she disappeared into a camera blind spot near the restrooms. Evelyn's stomach twisted. "That's not good." Miranda didn't hesitate. She grabbed her phone and dialed. After a few rings, George's gravelly voice came through. "Ma'am?" Miranda's voice was sharp. "Where were you 6 weeks ago?" A pause, then confusion. "Home. Doctor put me on medical leave, kidney problems." Evelyn and Miranda exchanged a look. That was before the first pregnancy was even reported. Miranda pushed further. "We have footage of you near a blind spot." George sighed. "The guardhouse bathroom was under maintenance. Had to use the inmate restroom a few times. Didn't think it was an issue." Miranda clenched her jaw. "All right, thanks." The call ended. Evelyn exhaled. "So much for that lead." Miranda slammed her fist onto the desk. "And what the hell is happening in my prison?" A knock at the door. It was Sophie James. Her face was pale. "Supervisor, you need to see this. Now." Back in the infirmary, an inmate sat trembling on the exam table. Her name was Louise Carter. "She's sick," Sophie whispered. "Same symptoms as the others." Evelyn's stomach clenched. "Another one?" Miranda looked at Louise. "Louise, listen to me. We need the truth." The girl hesitated, her fingers digging into her lap. Then in a whisper, she said, "You're looking in the wrong place." Miranda's pulse spiked. "What do you mean?" Louise swallowed hard. "It's not the staff. It's not someone sneaking in." Evelyn leaned in. "Then how?" Louise's voice dropped to a frightened whisper. "Look in the courtyard, near the bushes and the stone benches." Miranda froze. "What's in the courtyard?" A long pause. Then Louise whispered, "You'll see." The monitoring room was silent, except for the soft hum of the surveillance system. Miranda and Evelyn leaned forward, their eyes glued to the grainy black and white footage of the courtyard. At first, everything looked normal. Groups of inmates talking, walking, sitting on benches. Then Evelyn spotted it. "Wait, pause that," she said. Miranda hit the button. On the screen, 4 inmates sat together near the stone benches. But then, without drawing attention, one of them disappeared into the bushes. A full 30 minutes passed before she re-emerged, adjusting her clothing, walking back as if nothing had happened. Miranda's pulse spiked. "Rewind," she ordered. They watched again, analyzing every movement. "That's not normal," Evelyn murmured, her voice uneasy. Miranda sat up straighter, her gaze sharp. "We need to check that area. Now." The courtyard was empty. All inmates were locked in for the night. Miranda, Evelyn, and 2 guards moved toward the overgrown bushes near the stone benches. Miranda's flashlight flickered over the area, scanning for anything out of place. Then, she saw it. A patch of dirt, slightly disturbed. She crouched down, brushing aside the loose soil. And that's when her heart stopped. A narrow tunnel entrance lay hidden beneath the undergrowth. Evelyn let out a slow, shaky breath. "Miranda, this isn't just a hiding spot." Miranda's mind raced, realization hitting her like a freight train. They weren't disappearing. They were going somewhere. She turned to the guards, her voice urgent. "Get a search team down here. Now." 15 minutes later, armed guards entered the tunnel, their flashlights slicing through the darkness. The passage was narrow, damp, and longer than expected. Then, the first guard's voice crackled over the radio. "Supervisor, you're not going to believe this." Miranda grabbed the radio. "Go ahead." The reply was chilling. "The tunnel leads straight into the men's prison." Evelyn's breath caught. Miranda closed her eyes, her worst suspicion confirmed. This wasn't some bizarre mystery pregnancy phenomenon. The female inmates were sneaking into the men's facility nearby to have some romantic time. And that meant the real problem had nothing to do with security breaches. It had been right under their feet the entire time. The following morning, Miranda sat across from the warden and senior officials, presenting her findings. The tunnel was originally an escape attempt that failed, but instead of breaking out, they dug straight into the men's facility. She placed the evidence, photos of the hidden tunnel, video screenshots of the women disappearing into the bushes, on the table. For months, inmates from both sides had been meeting in secret. No supervision, no security. And now we have 5 pregnancies as a result. The warden's face drained of color. "This is a security nightmare," he muttered. Miranda's voice was firm, unwavering. "I need immediate approval to seal the tunnel permanently and overhaul security protocols." The warden nodded. "Approved. Shut it down today." Within 24 hours, the tunnel was filled with concrete, its entrance destroyed. But Miranda knew blocking it wasn't enough. She ordered security cameras installed in previously unmonitored areas, ensuring no blind spots remained. A new surveillance system was introduced. Guards would review footage daily instead of only during investigations. Most importantly, the prison administration approved supervised, regulated intimate visits to prevent further secret meetings and pregnancies. Evelyn, standing beside Miranda as the last of the tunnel was sealed, let out a slow exhale. "It's over," she murmured. Miranda crossed her arms, her jaw tight. "Yeah, but it should have never happened in the first place." The 5 pregnant inmates were placed under medical supervision, and their children were entrusted to family members after birth. Meanwhile, an internal investigation identified the key inmates who had been organizing the tunnel meetups. They received extended sentences for their roles in facilitating the secret operation. As for the male inmates involved, they were transferred to a higher security facility, ensuring zero contact between them and the women. Miranda wasn't going to let history repeat itself. Weeks later, Miranda and Evelyn stood in the now empty courtyard, where the once hidden tunnel was nothing more than a memory. Miranda exhaled, scanning the area. "We were looking in the wrong place the whole time." Evelyn nodded, glancing at the newly installed security cameras overlooking the yard. "Sometimes, the simplest answers are the hardest to see." Miranda gave a dry chuckle. "Yeah, but not this time." She watched as guards patrolled the area, ensuring nothing like this would ever happen again. Miranda wasn't just fixing a security flaw. She was making sure no one would ever get away with something like this again. As they turned to leave, Miranda cast one final glance at the spot where the tunnel once stood. This time, there was nothing left to hide. This story proves that even the most secure systems have flaws, and sometimes the truth isn't impossible, just hidden in plain sight. No matter how many rules exist, people will push boundaries, find loopholes, and outthink the system. But in the end, the truth always comes to light. If this story kept you hooked, hit the like button and subscribe for more. And if you thought this was shocking, just wait until you see what happens next. Click the video on your screen now. Thanks for watching. See you next time.